Turn to Benji's Corner.
Let's gather from all around the globe and join a Benji D Corner as we share the untold stories of individuals that have impacted society in their own right. Presented by renowned broadcast journalist Benji D. Turn to the corner every week for great talk, creating good vibes as we discover new transformations and great conversations. Watch Benji D Corner on Facebook and YouTube, streaming live, showcasing community stories that affluence our lifestyle. And now, welcome Benji D, the voice, and her various guests.
Turn to Benji's Corner. Turn to Benji's Corner.
Turn to my corner. Good evening, good afternoon, everyone, and good morning, whatever time you are viewing this live broadcast from wherever you are all around the world. And those of you who will be sharing and streaming on YouTube, it is a pleasure to be back. That's our makeup episode that we unfortunately missed last week due to technical difficulty. And we are glad. We still want to put in our 13th episode. Thank you. Thank you so much to everyone who is watching, everyone who is sharing all the latest episodes that we have done. I know this is not the usual time, but I know you will be sharing with your friends. Once you get the notification, you will be streaming and viewing at your convenience. We are glad to welcome our guest for you this evening. I'm your host, Benji D. It's a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to share my platform with each and every one of you who are on social media. Thank you so much. Just follow us on Facebook, Benji D Corner, or IG, Instagram, Benji D Corner, and you could get a better idea about all the special guests that we've had, all the stories we've heard so far, phenomenal stories. And it's always great to be with you. We want to thank our sponsors who made give us support to make all this possible. Crystal Event Hall. It's 561-577-7097. You're looking for a great location to host your parties and graduation, birthday party, wedding reception, funeral reception, a conference, you name it, book signing. It's 561-577-7097. The place will be decorated to your liking, to your choice of catering, however you want it decorated. Just give a call to 561-577-7097. JD Technical Institute, Bookkeeping and Accounting Schooling. It's 561-376-0220. JD and Associate Services for your tax, personal and business tax, about 20 years of experience. Mr. D is 561-376-0220. Don't forget Larbi Masnikoff and Associate for all your workers' compensation cases and also disability cases, Social Security disability cases. It's 561-598-7120. We want to thank Netronics, who make all this possible with Lois and Trevor, Lois Lincoln with Netronics. Also, my publicist, Natasha. You want Natasha in your corner. You want Natasha as your backbone, the lady who makes it all happen, who really encourage you to reach your goal and score high. And I also want to thank my producer, Alan Duffness, who's a great support of this program on Fort Diaspo TV. He just has a brand new program on Sunday, 11 to 3, with a whole team. Celosa Basquin, Sexy K, Le Grand Parisien Savant, Jean Pierre, L'Homme le plus sexy, Fermont Delouis, Philemon Desti. It's a whole team. They are on Radio Tropical 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Great programming, sport, entertainment, you name it. Just check it out on 4jaspotv.com and also Radio Tropical directly out of Orlando. It's a pleasure to be back, and we're not gonna waste time. This is a special programming for you today because we know what had occurred a few weeks ago. Very devastating news of the death of this famous rapper DMX, Earl Simmons, who had passed away on April 2nd, 2021. African American Earl Simmons. Everyone is talking about this, and we know we're not as knowledgeable about rappers, and we couldn't think of a better person who has lived in that era, who has followed this famous rapper, actor, none other than Sen. Sen is with us this afternoon. Is an author Maria C. Alphonse, which she goes by Sen. And we are bringing her to you to really talk about the livelihood, what it's like to her, what is it in her own words, how she feels about what the rapper went through, and eventually that caused his death. According to TMZ, he had died from a drug overdose. He suffered from a heart attack. And unfortunately, this was the sad news. And we see all the other famous rappers constantly talking about the tragedy that had occurred. He was so young, about 50, and having his children very young and older children. So the family is mourning the death of this famous rapper. DMX was sold millions and millions and millions of albums. And unfortunately, it was hard to fight the demons. And we say salute to the family. It's a very tough time, but there are great things that happen in this famous rapper's life as well. Also, the sad time that he's had growing up. Sen is going to be with us to help us really digest and understand what it's been like and what it means to her. And we know also she's a great author of a book she's working on, and some of the issue that the rapper had to deal with. We know some of the characters personified some of the experiences the rapper had gone through. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you checking us out every time. And thank you for adding up to our numbers. The subscribers are adding up. The viewership is adding up. Thank you so much, so much. I truly appreciate it. It's really from the bottom of my heart. When you help me grow, I grow. I do better and better. And very soon, as I had promised a few days ago, there'll be a gift to one of the viewers, because you take your time in spite of your busy schedule. You watch and you share with your friend. We truly appreciate it. The famous statement is click, like, and share, and also subscribe. Click, like, and subscribe and share with your family and friend. Just before we introduce our special guest, we're just going to hear the great sound of Stanley Toussaint of Laco, and also our producer, Alan Daphnis. We're going to be right back.
Turn to Benji's Corner.
Let's gather from all around the globe and join a Benji D Corner as we share the untold stories of individuals that have impacted society in their own right. Presented by renowned broadcast journalist Benji D. Turn to the corner every week for great talk, creating good vibes as we discover new transformations and great conversations. Watch Benji D Corner on Facebook and YouTube, streaming live, showcasing community stories that affluence our lifestyle. And now, welcome Benji D, the voice, and her various guests.
Turn to Benji's Corner. Turn to Benji's Corner.
My guest today, again, is Maria Sandy Alphonse. She goes by Sen. It is a pleasure to welcome her on our special platform. This is where we bring all the affluent folks and all the folks that have so much to say and stories to share. But today, it's a special. Hello, Sen. How are you?
I'm
Great.
good, and you?
Very well,
How
very
you
well,
been?
very well. It's on a special occasion. I must say to the audience today, you are not talking much about yourself. And we know that you have a book that you are working on that should be published very
Oh
soon.
no, it's about DMX, Earl Simmons. So you know how that be. Questions and acts.
It's
So
great. It's
yeah,
great. it's great having you, and thank you for collaborating and helping us to talk about this famous many. I hear the comments. Many of his uh, rappers like himself, the others
Hmm.
talk about him, how much of a great individual he was, and many others, actors who had shared movies with him, who had interacted with him, who knew him. I see different statement, and also some have said that unfortunately, the great man that he was, he's talked about after his death. There wasn't much of the goodness that he has as a human being. He was such a uh, generous man. That was your era.
Hmm.
You've lived it, and you know it better than I do. I don't really follow this kind of genre of music. It would be kind of tough to really talk about that, and you could do a much better job than I do. And it's great having you. And I know
Thank
when
you.
this had occurred, and you said that definitely you got to talk about that because there's so much more. Because yes, he is African American, but we know in our own community
But
as
did you
well,
see?
many can have
You should
issues that
see
they're struggling with. Hmm. Go ahead.
exactly. You should see. I don't know if it was his funeral, but they did a video on YouTube where the whole street flooded with people just representing DMX. That's how people he touched.
Yes,
I was
yes,
watching it before I came here, and I was like, "Yo!" And you see his fiance right there, and the pastor's holding the hand, and they're just praying for DMX. And you sit there. They did like two or three um arts on the wall in New York of his face, if you see it,
yes.
like a moral,
He was very powerful. Uh,
very
uh,
powerful.
it's just like it kind of reminded me when Tupac died, Tupac Shakur, when he died, and it was the same kind of reaction.
Yeah, that's who I look up to, and then DMX.
Mm.
But yeah, Tupac
Because
really touched me as well.
the
Hmm.
lyrics, the lyrics are raw, they're true, they're real.
Powerful
They sing about what they go through in their life,
in
what
life,
happened. So
what's
tell me,
going through.
why is it so meaningful for you to talk about him?
First of all, when I first heard about DMX, I was like, I'm an antisocial person when I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when I heard about DMX, my cousin came up to me. He gave me one of his movie music, and then we were jamming to um the anthem that he made, the song that he did, Stop, Drop, Shut It Down. I remember the words till this day. And then when I started listening to him more often, what touched me the most, because I was raised in a Christian family, is that he prays a lot. And then I've been watching his videos like slipping and fall, like slipping. And and I sit there and I related to him. Like, you could be a very good kid and you're trying to impress your parents, and then it depends how they were raised. You have to go by their childhood. So with my childhood, it was like a rough childhood. And when I listened to DMX, I was like, I'm not alone. Same thing with Tupac. But and then I was like, if it wasn't for DMX, who knows what I would go through as growing up as a teenager, as
His
growing
mu-
up. Go ahead.
his music his music impacted you that much?
Yes, you should see the song. It's mostly his first. He even did a song called Damien. I'm sorry, and he was talking to the devil, and I related to him. I was like, yo, it's like he's very talented, and he's going through the demons. I mean, there's a video that I showed you that I had sent you. It was like I was like, wow. But the words that came out of his mouth, you sit there and you listen to Damien. He did part 1, 2, and 3, talking to the devil, and then you be like, yeah, that's how the devil always attacked me. Because when I was a teenager, I'm always getting in trouble. When I was a teenager, I'm always catching an attitude. When I was a teenager, nobody didn't like me. The only
Why,
thing is, what keep me holding strong is my mom's prayers. Rest in peace to this day.
why did you get in trouble so much?
Repeat that again.
Why did you get in trouble so much? Why did you get in trouble so much?
I always get bullied. I'm always a person that always stay by myself. So when everybody comes at me, I start getting aggressive. And you know what I always said to myself? I said, the reason why I'm acting the way I'm acting, like I said, you could say like, let's go by the time I was in my mother's womb. She didn't even know she was 7 months pregnant, right? So every child want their mom. So what my grandma did, she took me 5 years old from away from her. Even the nurse was begging her to like, yo, take her, because from what the stories I heard, because I don't know my mom, she was just saying she's in a drug addict. If we just adopt her, just take her. They begged my mom. She had 6 kids of her own, and I was grateful and I was blessed. But then again, what hurts me the most is like they just have children just to have children. They believe in God, and they just took me in just because they feel sorry for me. But that don't mean that they have, how you call it, a parent's education. I was just there. So as I was growing up, I went through a lot. So I understand what DMX was going through.
So you felt
So
like growing up as a kid, you were like unwanted, and that's how you can relate his life to your life.
yes, and that's why it touched me a lot, because when I was reading his book, because I had purchased his book, he had, it's called Earl, and he mentioned what's the saddest part of the book was he said his mom would lock the fridge with a chain, and he was so hungry that he had to drink his perfume just to get by because he was hungry. So that's really touching. And her boyfriends that she has make him like let they basically let him abuse him as a child. So
His
it's a
mom
lot.
was his mom into drugs?
They said they say she was into drugs. I ain't going into that deep. And the most sadly part of DMX is how his mom would sit there and say, because you know DMX was a troublemaker. He'll be in school fights. He'd be in class. And they even mentioned that he threw a chair at a teacher. So I guess the mom couldn't take it, and the mom took him to Children Village and said, "Yo, you like this place?" He just talking to him like a normal kid. He said, "Yeah, I like it. It's very nice." He said, "Good. You're not coming home again. You're staying right here at
So he was
Children Village. Look it up.
so he was such a
Children
turbulent
Village."
he was a turbulent child, so the mom couldn't even
Yes,
raise him.
she couldn't take it. But from there on, like he said, if you watch Slippin', the show Slippin', I mean the video, sorry, he was like, that hurt him the most when his mom just left him there,
Make him feel like he was unwanted.
that he was not wanted. Yep.
So he had a very troubled childhood with
Oh
certain
yeah, there's a show, there's a video that he made. You can watch it. It's called Angels. He did it with Mary J. Blige.
Yes, I saw it.
Yeah, yeah,
Where he's showing the story more like how his life has been with the
exactly,
relationship with the mom.
exactly, exactly. So that's the only difference between. At least he knows his mom, but me, I always get in trouble. I always get beatings. My dad was my mom too. He was there
So you
pushing me to.
didn't know your mom.
I don't know my
You did
mom. I
you
never
did not
did.
know.
Never met her.
Okay. Up to now, up to the
Up to
present.
now, from
Yeah.
the only thing I know is her name. That's it. People will give me stories. They tell me that she had a mental problem.
Mhm.
People will give me stories like one time she had kidnapped me when I was a baby, took me to a, she knew what she was doing, and she put beer in my bottle and fed me.
So there were some issues there.
She put leaves like I ain't had no diapers and she put leaves just to cover me up. Like
Mhm.
she didn't know what she was doing. I don't know the whole story about my mom, but that was the stories I get.
So so that's why you went deep into DMX songs,
Oh,
his lyrics.
yes, his lyrics. He has a song called Rain that really touched me because he said, no matter what you're going through, you have to stop the rain. You have to listen to it. There's a lot of songs that he did. He since my grandma passed away 2019, I always listen to I Miss You from DMX.
Which he wrote
He dedicated that song
grandmother.
to his grandma.
Mhm.
So what me, my and DMX had in common is that his grandma loved him to death, even though his mom didn't.
Mhm.
And he was like a mother to him, just like my grandma was a mother to me. And no matter what,
Have you frequently gone to his performances growing up?
oh no, like I said, I have a bad childhood, I don't get that much stuff. I
You didn't get
just
that chance.
yeah, I just
So
get by. Whatever I get, I just get. I mean, my mom did spoil me, like just giving me what I want when I was a kid. But
you're
no, I
referring
ain't
to
gonna lie.
you're referring
The
to your
first time
grandma.
yeah, yeah, my mom. The
Which
first
is a
time I
black
ever went to, the first time I ever went to a concert, and I never did in my life. And my cousin's mom just gave us 2 tickets, and we went to Jay Z and Kanye West concert. That was the first time that I ever. But other than that, I just follow his music. I just listen to his music and watch videos on his shows. Like before he passed, it was funny because my auntie was so loved Jet Li. And and I'm sitting there telling my aunt, was like, let's go watch a movie. And then we was watching a movie with Jet Li and how he doing his karate and stuff. And that's when we find out. I was like, no, I cried that day. I was like, that really touched me that day. When he was in a coma on the second, I was like, my ex-boyfriend came by to the, and he was just saying, yo, did you know that X is in the hospital, overdose? And I'm like, no, I ain't hear nothing about that. And I was watching movies about him with my aunt, and I was so touched. I was like, I cried that day, the whole day, because
you
being in a coma.
do you feel that uh, his troubled childhood had a lot to do with him getting into drugs?
Yes, it does. If you have people in your family, supposed to be your mother and your father, supposed to support you and guide you. They're supposed to support you and guide you. in the right path. Not let them go to the bush and let them do whatever they want. That's what happened to me. They put me in the bush and let me do whatever they want. And bad stuff happens. You meet the wrong people. If you're not educated, that's the main reason why I went to college to get a psychology degree. If you're not
Because you want
educated, exactly. The brain is the most important thing. If you cannot if something happened to one part of your brain, you can't walk, you can't see, or you can't move. What you have to
watching
do is educate it. Go ahead.
watching his videos. He talk about he was exposed to um, the first time he tried crack cocaine. He was from a mentor who had him take it. Do you think it's the environment that caused that? Because this was someone he trusted.
Exactly.
You're helping him who with his
Did not even warn them or nothing. Just give him just give him the drug. And
do you
he
think
thought
he
it was
was
just only weed.
yeah, and he was so young. But
He was 14.
do you think the industry also has a lot of that exposure with the drugs, with the violence and the guns? Do you think
Yes, it
has to do with
does.
the industry as well?
Yes, it does. It
Does it
does.
come to the same?
Now, one thing that you can't sit there and be in a house and you have to have a gun just to protect yourself. I ain't
Because
gonna
going
lie. I know this is not about DMX, but last night I'm sitting there talking to my cousin, and he collapsed on the cocaine, and all I had to tell my cousin said, "Look, it was yesterday. You got 3 kids. Just look for it." I said, "Why did you collapse?" He said, "It's about life." Last night, my friend was there, and then she was like, "Yo, don't let him disrespect." It's like it's not even disrespectful. He just needed somebody to talk to. But I had to cut him off because I was with my friend. But last night, so it's a lot of effective in the industry, in the world, everywhere you go. It's gonna be there. All you have to do is protect yourself. He was 14 then when this happened. They gave it to him, and he said he told everybody, and I showed you, and I sent you the link. He told everybody. He said, "Joe, ever since I smoked that blunt, they created a monster out of it. It's addictive. I don't like it. I never tried it or nothing. Thank God for that. But it's very addictive. I know people that does it. That's about it. But it's very addictive.
there's been several
It's,
occasions that in and out of rehab, but still he couldn't find it. So
trust me, I know. I seen it in my own eyes.
I heard Master P making statement that uh, the industry should have some kind of support, some kind of union where
and I and I
they help
heard that
out,
too.
they can help out some of those artists with
Exactly. And I
the
I
with
agree.
the addiction. But beside all the addiction, he was preaching as well, and he was a very giving person. His good friend talked about that. B sweets B. No, I'm not
I
so
was about
familiar.
to bring them up. I was about to bring Switch Beats up. One thing I was listening to his he was giving his condolences to his best friend, and he also had a dream about him too. So Swiss Beats did say that he took other people. That's how strong a person DMX is. I'm gonna say Earl. They say Earl, rest his peace. And he said that he takes other people' problem and putting on his back just to help whoever has a problem. He just he just take it on his back. and then he said something like, the only time he had to be in peace, he told him, I had to go to jail. That's the
because
only
that's
time
he could focus on his writing. Because away from everything, everyone.
everything that's around him. He
And
said
he
that's
talked
my
about
peace. I
how
need
he
to
was
stay
so
in
much
jail.
of a human being because all the fame, all the money, none of this really mattered to him. All the money that he had.
Just like Swiss B said, he said you don't see him with a Lamborghini or expensive jewelry. You don't see him. You just see him with that chain and
So the
he just
moral is
be
some people,
exactly,
some people, no matter, it's not about how much they have because regardless of
exactly.
what they
That's
have
how he is.
financially, it does not
Exactly.
fill the void of what they feel inside. It's just still
Exactly.
emptiness. And from
One
a,
thing, one thing I know what Sweet Beast did say, and it really, really touched me. He said DMX went and sit down right next to a homeless kid, somebody right next to a homeless. I don't know if it's a little boy. He sat right next to a homeless person, talking to them. If I'm not mistaken, he said he was eating with him, and he said
yeah.
he got 30 million down in his bank, but he's sitting right next to the homeless person, just talking or sharing food. I forgot what he said.
Well, I guess if we said at the beginning, um, the way his childhood was, where his mom would lock up the fridge, he couldn't even have food, so he knew what it felt like if this homeless didn't have anything.
Exactly.
That did not change him as a human being. So he
Like he
knew that.
said, his friends was his dog. Like he goes out there and pick a pit bull dog and just who can he talk to? It depends how you raised as a child. It's like when I was reading that story, I was like, damn, touchy. So I don't
Do
have
you,
that
do you,
book. I'll be honest.
do you feel I don't know if it's society or if it's just a lot of people where anybody dealing with the struggle of addiction, their views differently in minority community or any community. Do you
You
do you
think
feel that?
do I what?
Do you feel like they're viewed differently? Anyone struggling with addiction, with substance abuse or alcohol, they kind of view them differently.
No, it's like when you tell your story, they could feel you. Like they could feel your pain. If somebody just watched the show right now and said, "My gosh, I can't believe this girl went through it," but I see what she's talking about with DMX, they would actually feel like not differently, just like, "Wow, I feel you." And once you reach out to whoever that's going through it in life, they could say, "I'm not alone. I could, I could get better. I could fix myself. I did it, and I went through a hell when I was a kid. Thank to God. I always pray every day. I'm talking to God like He's here, like me, you. you know, I fall. I fall. I mean, I was smoking cigarettes when I was 14. Why? Because I was around the wrong crowd. Ain't
The
nobody gonna
environment,
sit there in
the environment.
their environment. I said, "Oh, let me just try it." And I was in New York. I was going to a school called Baldwin Senior, and I got addicted. And you know how many stuff they put in that cigarette? Chemicals. To this day, I'm just struggling to stop. But I'm trying. I'm trying just to better myself.
So
Really,
that's to say regardless that's to say regardless of all the fame, of all the money, of all the surrounding, whatever, anything, somebody could be going through a struggle and
exactly.
they still cannot. It's hard to fight, although his spirituality level was how he preaches so much and doesn't start anything with a prayer, but still,
Always, always
that
start with a prayer.
that did not. Still, I was not strong enough to fight those demons.
Mhm. It's hard on DMX for the fact that he wants his mom to be there supportively. I mean, maybe he was as he in the industry rapping, maybe his mom was there, but regardless of what, I want my mom. I want my mom to be there. I don't care about anybody else. And he got married, of course. He
So he
got
never.
married.
So would you say he never healed from the past?
He never exactly. And it's hard because it's hard. It took me a time to heal myself, to be honest with you. And it my mom does affect me, even though I don't know her. And then I would sit there and cry, and then God would tell me, like, straight up, she was like, yo, you're not here on this earth because of your mom or your dad. If you don't know who's your mom or your dad, he's like, you're here because I put you here. And DMX did said that one time. He said that to they were videotaping. He was talking to some guys, and he said it exactly the same way. He said, "You cannot touch me." He's like, "You cannot touch me. God blessed me before I was in my mother's womb," and that's how I felt too,
But
long
deep down,
time ago.
yeah, deep down,
Exactly.
the healing process did not really fully take place.
Exactly. He said, and
Another thing
God
you
told me, He
always
said,
go
"You're
on.
here." It
There
was
has
hard
to
for me
be
to love myself.
closure.
Exactly. Some
And
closure.
for your own experience, have you gone through your healing process where you kind of close the chapter and move on?
I'm trying. I'm not perfect still, and I improved a lot.
So you're still working
But I'm
towards it.
trying. I improved a lot. I used to be that raggedy kid or that adult. My dad would taught me, rest in peace. He passed away too. My dad would taught me a lot before he told me. He was like, but the only thing about him, he don't sit down and talk to me. He would just sit there and say, he would sit there and say, I need you to stop hanging out with these people. If you stop hanging out with this, you will see why. But he never explained it to me. But ever since he passed away, I started to see. I was like, okay, I see why. It's like I understand now. But I'm not I'm not perfect. It's a part of me still don't love myself, but I'm trying to work on
So it's a work in progress.
it. It is. I even got a tattoo on my leg. My tattoo artist had did a world with the devil and God above him. And then I used DMX's album, It's Dark and Hell is Hot. I did tell him, I said, yo, put DMX name on it. He said, no, 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 don't put that name on it. But I had it for so many years. I think I had this for about 15 years. I had this on my leg. Yeah. And then I put it there for a reason because whatever we're going through in this earth, the devil's going to attempt.
So
And
that's
no
to tell
matter
you
what, God is there.
his talent
Exactly.
really did a lot for you. It did a
Yeah.
lot for you. So you lived through it, and those lyrics,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so relatable to you that I can understand what him passing away has
Yeah.
done. That's very close for you.
Really
Well,
close.
I want to thank you for sharing, and I know it's a little
That's
bit
right.
difficult. I see you get really a bit teary and emotional
Yeah, when
those.
I talk about it, I'm trying to fight it not to cry, but
Yes, I can see that.
I said, God, don't make me be crying on the show right now, please.
Well,
But
this happened. It says some may cry, some may smile, and it's okay. It's allowed.
it is a
It's
lot.
allowed in the corner. It's allowed. Just be you. Just be yourself. That's okay. Just be your authentic self. Well, thank you. And I know it's a little bit it's a bit difficult talking about that like that, but thank you
You're
for
welcome.
making the time and sharing. Um, it's kind of amazing these for the genre of music, people like myself who we are not so familiar with rap music, and because automatically we mostly think about the violence and the guns and the sex and the
Yeah,
drug,
that's
but
how.
beside that, there are some deep message, some realities of some of these individuals, artists, of their own personal life or their surrounding things that had happened, situation and experiences that they like to really sing and talk about and explain, and that's their way of expressing themselves. So I guess we have to really read and hear the agony because
Exactly.
many of the lyrics that I when I did some research on DMX and I was listening, the way he was talking, it was pretty much saying what he's been through, talking
Yep.
about experiences about his life, his mom, his childhood, him being out there, being on the street, and everything, or having consideration, uh, passion for someone, and loving someone, and it's very deep. It's kind of
It's
amazing.
very
It's like you, so you can't judge a book by the cover type of you know
exactly.
situation. You have to kind of open the book. So I'd say to anyone, go and check some of these videos out and hear some of these messages. It'll change your mind a bit and see there's much more to just that type of world, the hip hop world.
And you
It's
don't see. Sorry to interrupt. And you don't see a lot of rappers that will sit there and talk about God so much. That's what I loved about DMX.
his faith,
He talked
his
in every
spirituality
album.
was very
He
deep.
prayed.
Was very deep. Very very very
Every
deep.
album he prays.
Very deep. Kind of like Kanye West. They're pretty much into their Christianity. Well, thank you, son. It was a pleasure having you. We had a different time, not our typical time, but we know the viewers will be watching this episode, and
Of course.
we'll encourage anyone, whatever you're going through, whatever that had happened in your past, you gotta close. You gotta go through the healing process. And I'd say I'm thinking of this young 22-year-old who wrote the song "The Other Side of Pain," JJ Janot. Her book talk about situation like that of childhood trauma, childhood experiences that could put a deep hole in any child's life. But at some point, you got to overcome and go through the healing process and go to the other side.
Yeah, that's
She's
what I wrote a book on.
wrote a
Like
book on Amazon.
everything I see when I
But
was
you
growing
to
up
read,
is on that book.
I suggest you read the J.J. Janot book. That would help you a great deal. You could check out her page. That could help you go through the healing process that you're currently still going through as well. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
thank you, San. We have to
No
end. This
problem.
is the end. Thank you. Come back again. I know very soon we'll have the book. We could talk about
Yeah,
it. It's in the
you're
making.
gonna like it.
Yeah.
Brooklyn's like, I'm sorry,
Yes.
Claudinette, because you go by Claudinette. Claudinette is going crazy for that book. Like I said, MJ loved that one. Rest in peace to her too.
Rest in peace. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Thank you.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
for being part. And thank you for helping us to talk about this great, famous artist, a preacher, rapper, actor, one of a kind. They call him
Father,
father,
wife, I mean a husband,
husband,
everything he is.
one of a
And let
kind
me
human.
say to the family, for DMX's family, my condolences to all of them, fans, friends, family, even the ex-wife, the fiance, their kids. I feel y'all pain. I really do. I
Thank
really
you.
do.
And you have a wonderful day.
You too.
Bye
Nice
bye.
talking to you. Bye.
Pleasure. Thank you. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Don't forget, we'll be back next week with more episode for you. Benji D signing off. This was a very tough one. So long, everyone. It was a pleasure being with you.